Good morning, Peg Larson from the State Capitol. It is Wednesday, but already it has been a very, very busy week. Started off on Monday with House File 2180, which changes school district employee health coverage provisions. It's a very controversial bill. As one of the union workers said, it is the camel's nose under the tent to go into a statewide pool. I don't believe he meant to say that, but when he said that, everybody kind of took a gasp. On the House floor, there were very many amendments, and trying to take out self-insured schools because it will cost them money, and none of those prevailed. And finally, it passed, and in the Senate, they actually, in the omnibus bill, which I will get back to, omnibus budget bill, they actually put money in that bill without having heard the self-insured plan, or the insurance plan. So today in Finance in the Senate, they heard the bill. They did take out self-insurers, which is really great, but a very interesting thing happened, and that was Senator Bonoff's amendment. They passed the bill without recommendation to the House floor. Now to the Senate floor. Now this bill is an Education Minnesota bill, so that was really quite surprising. Okay, part two of the interesting things that are going on here was the Safe and Supportive School Act, otherwise known as the Anti-Bullying Bill, which passed the House last year, then finally passed the Senate floor this year. It came back to the House floor on Tuesday for a concurrence to the Senate bill. So the amendments that were done in the Senate, they were asking the people in the House to not amend it and just agree with the Senate language. That took over 11 to 12 hours to discuss. And I have to say that Representative Quam was stellar in his questions. He asked, how the annual report for the bullying goes, who's going to be in these school technology centers, which are now renamed, what kind of research this was based in, what happens to somebody if they make a false report, what happens to a kid who pushes another kid and that stays on his record because it never comes off, what happens to a child who is not the bully, but is bullied and the bullies set them up. And that was from Representative Rod Hamilton. Say 3 bullies decide to pick on a child and report that child bullied. How do you determine who is telling the truth? The parents are not involved in state law. They are involved in other statutes, and a lot of the other pieces to this bill fall under judicial statutes or public safety, but they're not incorporated in this bill. After hours and hours and hours of discussion, the House voted to concur with the Senate bill, so there will not be a conference committee. In fact, the governor is signing the bill this afternoon, and when I can't remember who asked Representative Soskowski whose bill was this, where did it come from, and they said the governor. So this is the governor's mantelpiece legislation for the year. This was very important to him. Some of the problems with the Safe and Supportive School bill is the fact that it's going to cost school districts about $32 a child. There's no money appropriated in this bill. That will be for the training of the teachers, of the volunteers, of the students, what bullying is. They got way off track into other subject matters, but it will cost each school district a little bit of money, actually quite a bit of money. In the Senate, they substituted House File 3172, which is the omnibus bill, omnibus budget bill, they eliminated the Senate file and made it a House file, which is something that they do quite often because fiscal bills need to originate in the House. So they discussed that, and they discussed it for quite a long time because it had so many different topics in it. Most of the discussion, and Senator Nelson was one who spoke, of the bill as a garbage bill because it has judiciary in it, it has education in it, it has health in it, it has state government in it, it has environment in it. But according to Chair Cohen, who chairs finance, everything in it this has been done many times, which is true, it has been done many times, and they're all under finance. So I'm sure somebody's going to try to take it to court, but I don't know how far they'll get. I do know that Phyllis Kahn took Governor Carlson to court on a garbage bill, which was all policy, and she did win, but I don't think that's likely to happen in this case. One of the things that they talked about was the education finance piece of the bill. The Senate came in $100 million below the House omnibus education piece, or the education finance. And what the Senate did, they didn't put any new money on the formula. The House puts 1%. And the Senate invests $41.2 million. And they lift the cap on early learning scholarships. They put $8.8 million into early learning scholarships, $8.9 into early learning parent education, which is ECFE. School readiness gets $3.6 million in aid. They put $100,000 into home visiting programs, $600,000 into the Promise neighborhood and the low property areas and the North Side Achievement Program. $250,000 in teacher evaluations, $10 million in non-Q comp districts to help them get up to par. They put $2 million in reading corps for kids ages 3 through 3rd grade because of the importance of reading. English language learners got $4.076 million, and they changed the district eligibility year to 6 years. We've talked about that before. They put money in STEM. They put $73,000 into a study for physical education to see if it's actually needed. And Vision Academy, $500,000 for pilot programs. They did put in money for a school breakfast for kindergartners, for all kindergartners. And they did put money in for free and reduced lunch children. If their accounts are empty, they will get lunches, regular lunches. The omnibus bill in the Senate, which is now House File 3172, did pass on a bipartisan vote. As I said earlier, they did put money in that bill for PEEP, Public Employee Insurance Program, which is one of the pieces of the school district insurance bill that we talked about earlier, and yet they still had not passed that. So it was something unusual. They would pass money for something that hadn't even passed the legislature yet. The rest of this week they'll be doing smaller bills, putting them together. I understand they will not be doing anything over Easter and Passover. They still have the bonding bill to do and the tax bill number 2, which is property taxes. So it should still be an interesting week, and certainly very interesting when we come back. Thank you very much.